Good evening, everyone. Stress. We all feel it. It's a fundamental part of being human. But what if I told you that stress is not your enemy? That in fact, stress, when controlled, can be one of the most powerful tools for focus, adaptation, and resilience. The problem is not stress itself, but our inability to shift out of it when we no longer need it. So, how do we eliminate stress in seconds? Let's get right into it. The physiological sigh is one of the fastest and most effective ways to reduce stress in real time. It is a biological mechanism built into our nervous system that allows us to rapidly regain control over our stress response. This pattern of breathing happens naturally, often during sleep or after crying, but it can also be deliberately used to calm the body and mind. The process involves 2 inhales through the nose, followed by a slow, extended exhale through the mouth. This specific breathing pattern directly impacts the levels of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the bloodstream, which in turn influences heart rate and stress levels. When we experience stress, our breathing tends to become shallow and rapid, leading to an imbalance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body. This can contribute to feelings of anxiety, increased heart rate, and a general sense of unease. The physiological sigh works by counteracting this imbalance. The first inhale fully expands the lungs, while the second, shorter inhale helps inflate the alveoli, tiny air sacs in the lungs that sometimes collapse under stress. This ensures that more oxygen enters the bloodstream, optimizing oxygen exchange. The extended exhale that follows is crucial because it allows for the controlled release of carbon dioxide, helping to reset the body's autonomic balance and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation and recovery. One of the most remarkable aspects of the physiological sigh is its immediate effect on the heart rate. The autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary functions such as heart rate and digestion, consists of 2 branches: the sympathetic, responsible for the fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic, responsible for calming the body. When stress triggers an increase in heart rate, the physiological sigh counteracts it by stimulating the vagus nerve, which signals the heart to slow down. The exhale phase is particularly important in this process because it increases vagal tone, meaning that it enhances the ability of the parasympathetic nervous system to regulate heart rate and bring the body back to a calm state. Research in neuroscience and physiology has demonstrated the effectiveness of this technique in reducing stress, anxiety, and even panic. Unlike deep breathing exercises that take several minutes to show results, the physiological sigh can bring relief in as little as 1 or 2 breaths. This makes it an ideal tool for situations where time is limited, such as before an important meeting, during moments of frustration, or when experiencing acute stress. Because the physiological sigh is a natural reflex, it does not require extensive training or practice. It is something the body already knows how to do, and by consciously engaging in this breathing pattern, we can tap into an inborn mechanism for self-regulation. Its simplicity and effectiveness make it a powerful tool for anyone looking to manage stress in real time. Expanding the visual field is a powerful yet often overlooked tool for reducing stress and calming the nervous system. When we are stressed, anxious, or in a state of heightened alertness, our vision naturally narrows. This is a built-in survival mechanism designed to help us focus on threats, but in modern life, it often backfires. Instead of being chased by predators, we experience stress from emails, deadlines, and social pressures, yet our brain and body respond as if we are in immediate danger. This narrowed vision locks us into a state of vigilance, increasing the activity of the sympathetic nervous system and making it harder to relax or think clearly. One of the fastest ways to shift out of this stress-induced tunnel vision is to deliberately widen our gaze. This process, known as panoramic vision or optic flow expansion, engages the visual system in a way that signals safety to the brain. When we broaden our field of view, whether by looking at the horizon, taking in a wider scene, or simply relaxing the muscles around the eyes, the brain receives input that there is no immediate threat. This shift in perception leads to a corresponding physiological change, reducing stress hormone levels and lowering heart rate. The science behind this is rooted in how vision and the autonomic nervous system interact. When we focus intently on a single point, especially something stressful, we activate the neural circuits associated with vigilance and alertness. This type of vision is useful when we need to concentrate, but it also keeps the brain in a heightened state of arousal. By contrast, when we soften our gaze and take in a wider scene, we engage neurons in the brainstem that are directly connected to the parasympathetic nervous system. This activation helps the body transition from a state of stress to one of relaxation. Studies in neuroscience have shown that visual processing plays a crucial role in regulating emotional states. Expanding the visual field not only reduces immediate stress, but also improves cognitive flexibility, allowing for better problem solving and decision making. This is why people often feel a sense of relief when looking at expansive views such as mountains, oceans, or open landscapes. The act of widening the visual field is not just a psychological trick. It has measurable effects on brain function, helping to shift the nervous system from a reactive state to a more balanced and controlled one. This technique can be applied in everyday situations where stress levels rise. Whether during a tense conversation, before a big presentation, or in moments of frustration, consciously expanding the visual field provides a rapid and effective way to regain composure. It can be as simple as stepping outside and looking at the sky, relaxing the eyes to take in more peripheral detail, or even staring at a distant object for a few moments. The ability to shift between focused vision and panoramic vision is an essential aspect of emotional regulation, offering an immediate and practical method for reducing stress. Forward movement is one of the most effective ways to reduce stress and regain a sense of control over the nervous system. When we experience stress or anxiety, the body prepares for action by increasing heart rate, tightening muscles, and releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This physiological response is designed to help us either confront a challenge or escape from a threat. But in modern life, many of the stressors we face do not require immediate physical action. Instead, we sit with our stress, allowing it to build up without a clear way to release it. This is where forward movement becomes a powerful tool. Walking, jogging, or any form of self-generated forward motion naturally reduces stress by engaging neural circuits that quiet the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and emotional reactivity. This happens because when we move forward, our eyes detect changes in the environment, known as optic flow. This movement visual processing has been shown to decrease activity in stress brain regions, making us feel calmer and more in control. Even slow, deliberate walking has a profound effect on stress reduction because it provides the brain with a continuous signal that we are actively navigating our environment rather than remaining stuck in a stressful state. The benefits of forward movement go beyond just lowering stress in the moment. It also helps rewire the nervous system to become more resilient over time. When we move forward, especially in an open space, we engage a system in the brainstem that regulates alertness and relaxation. This allows us to shift between high energy states when we need focus and calm states when we need recovery. Research in neuroscience has demonstrated that walking or running for even a short period enhances the brain's ability to regulate emotions, which explains why people often feel mentally clearer and emotionally lighter after a walk. Another key mechanism at play is the role of proprioception, which is the body's ability to sense its position and movement in space. Engaging in forward motion provides feedback to the nervous system that reinforces a sense of stability and control. This is particularly helpful during moments of high stress, as it counteracts the feelings of helplessness or being overwhelmed. Moving forward also engages the release of endorphins and other neurochemicals associated with mood regulation, helping to balance stress hormones and improve overall emotional well-being. One of the most striking aspects of forward movement is that it requires no special equipment, environment, or training. Unlike other stress reduction techniques that involve mental effort, movement is intuitive and immediately accessible. Simply walking outside, pacing in a room, or engaging in light physical activity can create a noticeable shift in mental state. This makes forward movement an incredibly practical tool for stress management, especially when combined with controlled breathing and an expanded visual field. Whether it is a short walk after a stressful meeting or a longer session of physical activity, forward movement provides a direct and reliable way to reset the nervous system and regain a sense of calm. Stress itself is not the enemy. It is a fundamental part of human biology that helps us adapt, grow, and perform at our best. The problem arises when stress becomes chronic or when we are unable to shift out of a heightened state once it is no longer necessary. The stress response is an ancient mechanism designed to keep us alive. It mobilizes energy, sharpens focus, and enhances our ability to respond to challenges. Without stress, we would lack the drive to achieve goals, learn new skills, or handle difficult situations. The key is not to eliminate stress entirely, but to develop the ability to transition in and out of it efficiently. When faced with a stressful situation, the brain and body react in a highly coordinated way. The hypothalamus signals the adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline, increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and alertness. These changes are beneficial in the short term because they prepare us for action. However, if the body remains in this heightened state for too long, it begins to take a toll on health, leading to fatigue, impaired cognitive function, and even long-term issues like cardiovascular disease and weakened immune function. The ability to switch from a stress state to a relaxed state is what determines whether stress is harmful or beneficial. One of the most important factors in managing stress effectively is understanding that it is a dynamic process, not a fixed state. People who handle stress well are not those who avoid it altogether, but those who can recover quickly after experiencing it. This adaptability is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, which has two main branches: the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for the fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and recovery. A well-regulated nervous system can shift between these states effortlessly, allowing for peak performance when needed and deep recovery afterward. The problem arises when stress becomes prolonged or when we lack the tools to transition out of it. Many people experience chronic stress because they remain in a heightened state long after the stressor has passed. This happens due to a variety of factors, including constant mental rumination, poor sleep, lack of physical activity, and an overstimulating environment. The key to reducing the negative effects of stress is to introduce deliberate practices that signal the brain and body that it is safe to relax. Physiological tools such as breathwork, movement, and visual adjustments help create this shift by directly influencing the nervous system. Learning to regulate stress is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding difficult situations, but about training the body to respond in a way that supports resilience. People who develop this ability are more likely to remain clear-headed under pressure, recover quickly from setbacks, and maintain overall well-being even in demanding situations. Understanding stress as a process rather than a problem allows us to work with it rather than against it, ultimately enhancing performance, focus, and long-term health. The body plays a crucial role in regulating the mind, and in many cases, it is far more effective to use physiological techniques rather than relying solely on cognitive strategies to manage stress. While thoughts and emotions influence how we feel, the state of the body has a direct and immediate impact on brain function, particularly when it comes to stress and anxiety. The nervous system operates in a bidirectional manner, meaning that the brain sends signals to the body, but the body also sends signals back to the brain. By learning to control physical states, we can rapidly shift our mental state without needing to engage in complex psychological processes. Breathing is one of the most powerful ways the body influences the mind. The way we breathe directly affects the autonomic nervous system, which governs stress and relaxation responses. Fast, shallow breathing increases heart rate and signals a state of alertness, while slow, controlled breathing engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes calmness and recovery. Techniques like the physiological sigh, which involves a double inhale followed by a slow exhale, provide a rapid way to reduce stress by lowering carbon dioxide levels in the bloodstream and slowing the heart rate. Unlike cognitive methods, which can take time to change thought patterns, these physiological interventions produce immediate results. Posture and movement also play a major role in mental states. When stressed, people tend to hunch their shoulders, tighten their jaw, and contract their muscles, reinforcing feelings of anxiety and tension. Simply adjusting posture by standing upright, opening the chest, and relaxing facial muscles can send signals to the brain that shift the body out of a stress response. Movement, particularly forward motion such as walking or running, engages neural circuits that reduce activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear and stress center. This explains why people often feel a sense of relief and mental clarity after physical activity. The brain interprets forward movement as a sign of progress and safety, helping to downregulate the stress response. Vision is another key component of how the body controls the mind. When people are stressed, their visual field narrows, and they enter a state of tunnel vision. This heightened focus is useful in threatening situations, but can increase stress in non-life-threatening circumstances. Consciously expanding the field of view by looking at the horizon, taking in peripheral details, or relaxing the eyes can help shift the brain out of a reactive state and into a calmer one. This simple visual adjustment has a profound effect on the nervous system, reducing stress levels and improving emotional regulation. Temperature and physical contact also play a role in regulating stress. Cold exposure, such as splashing cold water on the face or taking a cold shower, activates the parasympathetic nervous system and can quickly reduce feelings of anxiety. Similarly, applying deep pressure, such as through self-hugging or weighted blankets, stimulates mechanoreceptors in the skin that send calming signals to the brain. These physiological techniques provide powerful ways to regulate emotional states without needing to rely solely on cognitive effort. The ability to control stress in seconds is not about eliminating it, but about rapidly shifting the body and mind from a heightened state to a more balanced one. Stress is a necessary and adaptive response that helps sharpen focus, increase energy, and prepare the body for action. However, problems arise when stress lingers beyond its usefulness, leading to chronic tension, anxiety, and decreased performance. The key to managing stress effectively is learning how to control its onset and offset rather than trying to suppress it entirely. Understanding that stress can be regulated in real time allows for greater emotional control and mental clarity. One of the most effective ways to shift out of stress quickly is through deliberate control of the breath. The autonomic nervous system, which regulates stress and relaxation, is directly influenced by breathing patterns. Rapid, shallow breathing signals a state of alertness, while slow, controlled exhalations engage the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation. The physiological sigh, a two-part inhale followed by a prolonged exhale, is a powerful tool for reducing stress immediately. This breathing pattern optimizes oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the blood, slows the heart rate, and signals safety to the brain. Unlike meditation or cognitive reframing, which may take time to implement, this method works within seconds. Another rapid way to control stress is by shifting visual focus. Stress narrows the field of vision, creating tunnel vision that increases alertness but also amplifies anxiety. This response is useful in situations that require intense focus, but can be detrimental when trying to regain composure. Expanding the visual field by taking in more peripheral details or looking at a distant horizon provides an immediate calming effect. This shift in vision engages brain areas responsible for relaxation and reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's stress center. This technique can be applied in any setting, making it a highly accessible method for stress reduction. Physical movement is another effective tool for shifting out of stress. Forward movement, such as walking, jogging, or pacing, naturally reduces the brain's stress response by engaging neural circuits that regulate emotional states. This effect is enhanced when movement occurs in an open space, as optic flow, the movement of objects past the eyes, provides additional calming input to the nervous system. Even a few minutes of walking can significantly reduce stress, making it an ideal technique for quickly resetting after a tense situation. The nervous system also responds to tactile and temperature-based interventions. Cold exposure, such as splashing cold water on the face or holding something cool, activates the dive reflex, which lowers heart rate and reduces stress. Similarly, applying deep pressure, such as pressing the palms together or using a weighted object, stimulates mechanoreceptors in the skin that send calming signals to the brain. These physiological techniques provide immediate ways to shift out of stress and into a more regulated state. By understanding how the body controls stress and implementing these techniques, it becomes possible to shift from stress to calmness in just a few seconds. The goal is not to eliminate stress, but to develop control over how long it lasts and how intensely it is experienced.